So Season 16 accidentally created a brand new way to jungle, and challenger junglers are finally starting to catch on and abuse it to completely take over games within just the first 3 minutes. And if you don't know about this yet, trust me, you're literally missing out on free LP. Now, Season 16, as we all know, introduced a ton of new features to the game, most notably of which being the new role quest. But for jungle, as everyone predicted, the game feels, well, more or less the exact same as last season. And up until now, the only real implication was that thanks to the bonus movement speed, we now have the choice of buying either green or red smite instead of 99% of the other players taking blue on every champion without a second thought. But funnily enough, the change that has had the biggest impact on jungle was one that wasn't even targeted towards jungle: the new home guards. Originally intended to make lane phase just a little bit less punishing and teleport a little less mandatory. However, the update to home guards have accidentally ended up creating some of the most broken early game jungle tech we have ever seen, and so broken in fact that nearly every jungler can now turn up at SkillCapped after a full clear, not only on time, but with an item advantage, which if your opponent doesn't know about, it all but guarantees that you are going to win that skirmish even in losing matchups, thanks to the extra stats that you're going to be getting, which in turn gives you the potential to then completely snowball the early game from there. So here's how it works. You start Raptors, then do red buff using your smite, and then after that, do Krugs. Now you can also look to mix this up just a little bit and do Raptors into Krugs and then red after, which is slightly more efficient for your respawning camps on champions like a Mumu, Kayn, who can easily go over walls from level 2. Either way though, from here, you immediately base, and as long as you didn't waste gold on a health potion, you're going to have around 425 gold, meaning you can buy a longsword, dark seal, amp tome, or even a ruby crystal on certain tank junglers. And a quick bonus tip here, if you opted for either a dark seal or longsword, you can also look to buy a pink ward, which is surprisingly extremely effective this season, as you can pop it down immediately after your blue buff or in the pixel brush to get early vision control over the Phalite. Now, this whole basing after Krugs is a clear that was previously exclusive to Silas, and one of the main reasons he was so strong, as due to being able to stack his passive on the way to wolves, he barely lost any time doing this compared to a standard full clear, and was much healthier. But now, in Season 16, this is where those massive changes to home guards really come into play, as now, after basing, not only do they give you a massive amount of movement speed compared to last season, but they also last all the way until you first enter your jungle, meaning now, any champion that can go over this wall, or even leash the wolves from range, which is pretty much all meta junglers, can then go straight to wolves, then grump, and finish up blue buff last, which, thanks to those extra stats from the free base, means you're going to be clearing this quadrant slightly faster compared to a standard full clear, enabling you to get to Scuttle on time, level 4, smite ready, only with the bonus of having an item advantage over your opponent. Meaning if they path the same way as you and you end up meeting at SkillCapped, if they don't know about this tech, it's going to mean you're all but guaranteed to win that 1v1 over the game's first mini objective. An advantage that you can then use to potentially snowball the game completely out of control by going straight to the other Scuttle to secure both. And from there, you could just go straight back into your own Raptors, Krugs, and then reset and head to your topside camps with a game-winning advantage this early into the game. But to really understand just how broken this clear can absolutely be, let's take the most picked champion across all ranks that can reliably go over walls. That, of course, is Lee Sin. His average standard red side clear speed across over 2 million games comes in at 2 minutes and 52 seconds, just 3 seconds before Scuttle spawns. However, with the new Raptor start into recall clear, including the time spent basing and grabbing a longsword, you can finish your full clear at 2 minutes and 44 seconds. That is over 10 seconds before Scuttle even spawns, meaning if mastered, you even have time to gank a lane and still make it on time for SkillCapped spawn. And of course, still have that item advantage. It's completely and totally busted right now, and just one of many reasons that improving your clear speed and knowing the best possible jungle route for the champions you play is without a doubt going to be the biggest cheat code for climbing, and precisely the reason why we enlist the help of world record holding junglers to bring you the quickest, most cutting edge clears and routes for every meta champion before they ever go viral. Every walkthrough contains detailed step-by-step breakdowns, including must-know tricks, the exact damage thresholds you need to leash camps together, and all of the small details that shave serious time off your jungle clears, which, when paired up alongside our brand new 5-part Jungle Essentials course for Season 16, covering everything from ganking tracking, decision-making, and most importantly, when to farm and when to skip camps gives you everything you could ever need to climb as jungle this season. In fact, we're so confident that our service works that it's even all backed up by a rank up guarantee. Climb at least an entire division while actively using our service or get every penny back. Check out all of this and more today using the special one-time discount code in the description or pinned comment below, and finally get the rank of your dreams today. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Okay, so obviously you and the enemy jungler aren't always going to path the same way every single game. Does that make this clear lose value? No, you still gain a huge advantage. Remember, with this route, we're essentially getting a free recall at absolutely no cost. So regardless of if you path the opposite side to the enemy jungler, you're still going to be on the map with a free item, tempo, and health advantage, which is obviously extremely broken right now. So after securing your own SkillCapped, that means you can look for a gank either top or bot depending on which side of the map you started, which is only going to be even more effective thanks to your extra stats. Or you could even look to force a play mid, which can be especially strong to do as it can often result in a 2v2 where, again, you're going to have a massive advantage over the enemy jungler. But best of all, you don't even need to gank or fight over Scuttle to abuse this early advantage, as if you know the enemy jungler started on their Raptors, which is very common practice for most farm-heavy junglers that want to rush level 6, or just those with a really strong Raptor start. Think champions like a Nocturne, a Mumu, Lilia. The standard path here is to start Raptors, then do Krugs, into Red, into Wolves, into Gromp, and finally Blue, with the goal being to get your smaller camps respawning faster. But after clearing Scuttle, this only gives you around 10 to 20 seconds until your Raptors spawn. So many players, they just path straight back through mid and go towards them. And what you can do in these situations is to look to contest their Raptor spawn. Take this challenger game right here. Both Nocturne and Aatrox start their Raptors. Only Aatrox knows about this tech, so bases after his Krugs, whereas Nocturne does the standard full clear that we just mentioned, with both junglers finishing around the same exact time and trading SkillCapped. But as Aatrox has the item and tempo advantage, he makes the play for Nocturne's Raptor spawn, forces him off them, at which point Nocturne has no choice but to go to Aatrox's Raptors instead. So Aatrox follows, and they're able to collapse and pick up the kill. So just from his item advantage, Aatrox felt comfortable to force this play, get both Raptor respawns, and get a kill, getting him insanely ahead. And listen, this new clear does way more than just allow you to be stronger than the enemy jungler early. It honestly fundamentally changes your early game options, paving the way for ganks that are completely unpredictable and completely risk-free. As we all know, level 3 ganking, it's by no means anything new. Junglers have been clearing a single quadrant and then ganking a lane right after for years now. The problem is that up until now, in Season 16, this kind of play has always been incredibly risky. So risky, in fact, that it was almost never worth going for. The moment you show on the map for a level 3 gank, the enemy jungler immediately knows, and they can just walk straight into your uncleared quadrant and steal away your camps. So even in the games where that gank paid off and you get a kill, you often still end up behind because of it. But here's where the home guard change really comes in clutch yet again, as when doing this clear, because we're basing, we have the option to take advantage of the home guards, and instead of running directly to Wolves, you can run straight down either top or bot lane, depending on which side of the map you're on, and then look for a level 3 gank. Not only is this incredibly unpredictable, as it's an odd timer that nobody ever expects, but it comes at next to no opportunity cost. The reason for this, that we're making that play on the same side of the map as our active camps. So even if the gank doesn't work out, you can just backtrack right to Gromp with barely any time lost. If the enemy jungler pathed the opposite way, it's already too late for them to invade, as they're going to be on the opposite side of the map. And if the enemy jungler does path the same way and decides to skip their camps to invade once they see you, again, you've still got that item advantage over them. Remember, in Season 16, home guards now last all the way till you get back to lane. So exactly like in this game right here, Rek'Sai bases after Krugs and then heads to Wolves like normal. Only she spots the Kled blow flash top lane, meaning she can take full advantage of this new pathing to just run all the way directly up the lane with that bonus movement speed, pull off that easy lane gank, and then just backtrack to Gromp and continue her topside camps, all while the enemy Nocturne is only just starting his red buff. But anyway, before you queue up and try this route in your own games, there's still a few questions that we have to answer here. First of which being, what junglers can actually reliably pull this clear off? Well, as we mentioned, the only real requirement is for you to be able to go over this wall to get your wolves, which out of the top 20 most popular meta junglers right now, the only ones who can't are Viego, Rengar, Master Yi, Hecarim, Nocturne, and Mbessa, meaning everyone else can look to give it a try, but it's especially strong if your champion also has a good Raptor start. So although Kha'Zix can go over walls with his E, his Raptor start is really slow, meaning it's not necessarily worth doing. But undoubtedly, the best champions at abusing this path are those that have strong early dueling or want to impact the map early. Champions like Talon, Lee Sin, Echo, Rek'Sai. Now Talon in particular absolutely loves this clear, because once you hit level 3, you can put a point into E, and once you base, you can just hop over the Nexus wall, vault this small pillar, jump over this thick wall right here, and you're already at wolves in seconds. In fact, this clear is so absurd on Talon that Korean Talon mains have been hard abusing it, except in some cases they don't even go wolves. Instead, they E ride over and head straight into the enemy jungle and cheese the enemy as they're doing red buff, showing up early with full health and a free longsword. Now, as disgusting as this new clear looks, it isn't just completely free, and it's not something you should be forcing every single game on every champion that's capable of doing it. So let's talk about the downsides here and when you wouldn't want to do this. The first and the most obvious issue here is that this path desyncs your camps, which immediately makes it less appealing for champions that just want to cycle efficiently and power farm. The reason for this is that we're doing Raptors into red into Krugs, meaning if you're doing Raptors on respawn, there's going to be a small delay before your Krugs come back up, which in turn introduces a few seconds of downtime that doesn't exist in standard paths, at least for your first clear. Not only that though, this is also slightly less optimal pathing wise compared to starting on your red buff than doing Krugs into Raptors, as when doing that path, you can just base, get to your Krug respawn, and do a full clear of Raptors into wolves into Gromp without any backtracking. Even then though, when doing this new path, you're generally going to be adapting and basing after Krugs anyway, meaning you would clear your respawning Raptors, then do Krugs, and that's your timer to base and head to your other quadrant. So even then, it's not a complete game breaker from just a pure camp cycling and efficiency standpoint, but most importantly, the main reason you wouldn't want to do this path is because it forces you to path towards top for blue side and bot for red side, which in some games is fine, but if you're on blue side and have a tank like Ornn top while your bot lane is super volatile with something like Draven Nautilus, it's generally going to be a no-brainer to want to path and play towards bot lane in that game. And the last downside here to talk about is speed. Every champion that can go over this wall is capable of clearing and reaching Scuttle before or just as it spawns, with some clears requiring a little more optimization than others. But compared to a standard Raptors start, it's usually around 3 to 4 seconds slower. So if you're somebody who already struggles with reaching Scuttle on time, this clear is going to lose a ton of its value, which is exactly why we created an entire course dedicated to teaching you the fastest possible clear for every meta jungler in the game, including these brand new routes. Every champion's clear contains detailed step-by-step subtitles you can follow along with in real time, breaking down everything you need, from the exact damage thresholds for kiting camps outside of their patience range to must-know tips and tricks, and all of the hidden details you wouldn't find anywhere else on the internet, saving countless time off your clears. So while the average jungler is still on Krugs, you already full cleared and are ganking lanes. Now pair this up with our brand new 5-part Season 16 Jungle Essentials course covering decision-making, ganking, objectives, pathing, and so much more, and you have everything that you could ever need to climb this season. So if you want to stay ahead of the meta and gain every advantage possible, check out the link in the pinned comment or the description below. For now though, we really hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.